It's time for this week's episode of Brandon Sports Talk, featuring in-depth interviews from those who are trending in the world of athletics. And now, here's the host of Brandon Sports Talk, Brandon Pate.
Welcome back to Brandon Sports Talk. In today's episode, I have the privilege to interview the Yale's men's basketball coach, James Joens. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great, Brandon.
Can you talk about how you got started in college coaching?
Well, that's kind of a long story. I was working for a computer company. My younger brother, Joe, who's the head coach at Boston University, was working at a high school, and I would go work with him on weekends from time to time. I'd drive from Connecticut, where I was working as a salesman. And, I missed it. And I was dating a young woman who we went up to Travis, the Saratoga racetrack, and I met one of the assistant coaches at Albany women's basketball team, and they told me there was an opening at my alma mater, and I took a huge pay cut, and I talked to my former head coach, and he gave me an opportunity to get into coaching, and at that point, I was going to get an MBA and go back into business and make some money on Wall Street, but I got snake bit by basketball and really missed it and fell in love.
What was your time like coaching the U.S. basketball as the assistant coach?
Well, I've had a couple of stints with USA Basketball. Back in 2015 and 16, I was a court coach. And then in 2005 and 2006, I was a court coach. And in 2007, I was with Jay Wright and Mark Gottfried, and we went to Brazil, played in the Real University games. And then this past February, I had an opportunity to go to Puerto Rico with the qualifying team for U.S. Nationals, and I had a great experience doing that. The head coach was Joe Prunty, and Othello Harrington was also on the staff, and we were over in Puerto Rico for 10 days, quarantined, but it was a great experience.
That's amazing. Can you talk about, of course, the 2001 and 2002 season, the most memorable season in history with Yale?
Well, I don't know if that was the most memorable season in history. It was certainly a great year for us. We won a championship for the first time in 40 years. It was my third year at Yale. I was crazy out of my mind, had a lot of energy. And if I continued coaching like that, I'd probably have a heart attack. But it was a great experience with the young men that we had just brought to Yale, with a group of guys that were here when I got here. We blended them together, and we were able to do something really special.
What was the 2015-2016 season like?
Oh, it was probably one of the greatest years of my life, where we actually qualified for the NCAA tournament in 2002. We won a championship. It was a three-way tie. We ended up losing in a playoff. We beat Princeton in the first round, and then we lost to Princeton in the first round and lost to Penn in the second round. But in 2015, we won a league outright, and we had a great basketball team, and we fell short the year before, where we lost our last game, regular season game of the year, on a buzzer beater, and that was hard to take. And we were able to get ourselves together and win the championship next year outright and go to the NCAA tournament.
That's amazing. Can you talk about, of course, your personal accomplishment in 2015, getting into the Hall of Fame in New England?
Well, anytime that someone wants to recognize you as a Hall of Famer, it's wonderful, no matter what Hall of Fame it is, whether it's your high school Hall of Fame or, in this case, the Hall of Fame in New England. Was just a great experience for me to be part of that. I've worked really hard to try to be successful, and it's nice when other people acknowledge it.
What is the championship culture that you have built at Yale over the years?
Well, there are three things that we want to do. We want to rebound, we want to defend, and we want to share the basketball. And those are things that are deeply embedded into what we do at this point. And we may play faster sometimes, we may play slower sometimes, but those three things are going to be key for us to be successful. And my thought is, if you do those three things at a high level, you have a chance to win every basketball game. So if you were to ask anybody in my program over the last 10 years what Yale basketball is, they're going to tell you we defend, we rebound, and we share. And probably the most important one is sharing the basketball. I think that's highly important to keep your team together and moving everybody in the right direction.
How does it feel to you knowing that you are the most winningest coach in Yale's history?
Well, it's something that you don't really think about, right? I'm involved in the day to day, and that's not something that crosses my mind quite often about who I am and what I'm doing. Every day I go out trying to help find a way to make Yale basketball better, to try to improve the guys that we have in the program, and trying to recruit at a high level so we can go out and play all the teams that we play in the country that are on scholarship, where Yale's a non-scholarship institution, so we have to do things a little differently.
What is a typical game day like pre-COVID and COVID now?
Well, unfortunately, we haven't had a chance to play because of COVID. We're the only team in the country the only league in the country that's not playing. That being said, a typical game day, every coach has their own process and things that they go through in terms of getting themselves ready for a game. I normally eat a late lunch, and I get a good workout in before before we play, get a good sweat up, and shower and change and get myself ready for the game. But having our guys that sometimes they have to go to classes and before on game day, and that's something that's probably I'm sure everybody has to go through. But they go to their classes, they get themselves ready, and then we come together, have a walkthrough, and we try to make it work.
Of course, at the beginning of COVID, how did you prepare your athletes to know that they're not going to be able to play?
Yeah, that was a difficult thing to do, Brandon. Our guys, basketball is who they are, and COVID has taken that away from us for a little bit over a year now. So talking to them and letting them know we were there for them and here to help, and that this COVID is bigger than us all, and that we need to take a respite here. It's just a little bit more difficult for my guys because everybody else is playing, and we were able to have a national championship tournament. And it's hard to watch other people play and do the things that you love to do.
Of course, what is the recruitment process like for prospective student athletes?
Well, it's just no different here than it is anywhere else. You vet guys. We take a good, long, hard look at who we're recruiting. We're trying to make sure the kids are tough that we're recruiting, because that's a big part of being successful, we believe. And then getting to know them and their families and what they're interested in doing and becoming. And we try to get them on campus when that's available. And again, meeting everybody around them and just getting to know them, high school coaches, AAU coaches, guidance counselors, grandparents. We kind of touch base with a little bit of everybody to get to know the kids that we recruit. I've been a head coach at Yale for 22 years, and I've never had a kid transfer, mainly because we do a great job at vetting those young men that want to play for us.
Can you talk about, of course, the official visit before COVID and what that was like?
Well, it was great, and I'm sure it's the same anywhere else. Our kids would come in on a Thursday night. We put them up in a hotel. They, grab a bite to eat and relax, and then we get them on Friday morning, and them and their parents out of the hotel, and the young men go to stay with some of the kids on campus. Some of the kids on my team. Parents stay in the hotel. We go to breakfast, and it always seems like you're eating when you're on official visit. So they go to breakfast, and then there's a campus tour, and then they may go to a class or may meet our athletic director. You have lunch. Then they view our guys working out, and then they might participate in the captain's practice where the coaches aren't allowed to watch. And then there's maybe more meetings in the afternoon with professors and such of what they're interested in doing. And then there's dinner and a night out with the team. And Saturday there's a breakfast, and then maybe another workout, a football game, and then some relaxing time, because by that time the kids are dog tired, and then dinner at night at a nice restaurant. And we try to get a chance to have them have a Yale experience. And the most important thing that they do is they spend time with the players on the team, getting to know who they are, and if they feel like they can fit in with us.
Do you get to let them try on the Yale dark blue jerseys on the official visit?
Yeah, we do that. The little photo op that we take with all the guys to let them feel like what it's like to put on that jersey, because that's really special. I think that if you were to go and ask everybody that's ever played basketball at Yale, they remember the last time they put on that jersey, and they would almost do anything to have the opportunity to do it again.
That's so amazing. Who are some of the teams that you play in your conference?
Well, our conference, there's 8 teams in the conference. It's Yale Brown, there's Harvard Dartmouth, there's Cornell Columbia, and there's Penn and Princeton.
Of course, out of those people, who are your biggest competitors and rivals?
Well, Harvard, Yale, anything you kind of do in the Ivy League, Harvard, Yale is the biggest rivalry. They're the two best academic institutions in the league and in the country for the most part. And, so that's a big rivalry. And then, when I first got to Yale, Penn and Princeton dominated the league 22 years ago. And so they've been rivals as well. And we've been fortunate enough to be on the better end of those outcomes as of late.
What are some of your future plans to build the culture and the program at Yale?
Well, fortunately for us, that we spent a lot of time building that culture of this program, and I think it's in great shape right now. We want to continue to strive to be better. We want to get to Sweet 16s. We want to go to a Final Four. We want to go to a championship game. So we're trying to build the program to get to that level. But in terms of our culture, it's already said it's rock hard. Our kids believe in it. They coach each other. They help each other. And that's one of the reasons why we've been really good.
What advice would you give upcoming future high school athletes looking to play college basketball?
Well, look yourself in the mirror and be honest with yourself is the first thing I would say. I think that a lot of times, young men fool themselves into believing that they're better than they actually are. And I think you need to be realistic with who you are and figure out what your weaknesses are and work on those weaknesses so they become your strengths. I think that the hard work and effort is the one thing that never goes away. And if you put that time and that effort in, good things will happen for you.
What advice would you give upcoming future college basketball coaches looking to get into the industry?
Well, I tell them that they're out of their minds. This is a crazy business that we're in. It's very difficult to get a job. It's a lot about who you know in terms of how it works. But, it's a wonderful job as well. So I think you may have heard this statement. It's a wonderful job in a terrible profession. The profession itself, it can be tough and difficult. But it's extremely rewarding to be a head coach and to be a college basketball coach and to be around young men and young women and try to help them become their best selves. I had some shortcomings as a basketball player. I didn't work as hard as I needed to. I wasn't always honest with myself when I looked in the mirror about who I was as a player. I didn't work on my weaknesses enough. So I've enjoyed trying to help young men see that path and try to help them get to where they want to get to.
That's wonderful advice. Where can my listeners find you at on social media along with the Yale basketball program at?
Well, Yale basketball is on Instagram, Yale basketball on Twitter, and I'm on Instagram at Yale Coach Joens.
Thank you again, Coach Joens, for your interview and best of luck in this upcoming season at Yale.
Brandon, you take care, my friend, and always nice to see you. And anytime you'd like to have me on, I'm happy to come on with you.
Thank you. You can find Brandon Sports Talk on Facebook at Brandon Sports Talk, Instagram at Brandon Sports Talk, Twitter at Talk_Brandon, and you can find me on YouTube at Brandon Sports Talk. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you again, Coach Joens, for your interview and best of luck.
Have a great day.
You've been watching Brandon Sports Talk. Please feel free to like, share, and subscribe to Brandon Sports Talk on social media and on YouTube.